This will be reading 36 from Satan's Trilogy, Book 1, Chapter 4. They had lost some of her enthusiasm for a moment, then grinned at everyone. Let's alternate between new friends and old friends. Chris, why don't you go next? Said Day. Chris looked at all 6 girls, saw their interest, and he was also inspired by Day's openness. Handing the watch to Day, he said, "Stop me in 60 seconds, please. I was born in Chicago. I never knew my father. My mom tells me that he was very handsome, and she had fallen in love with him, only to find out later he was married. Once he found out my mom was pregnant, he wanted her to get an abortion. That is when she realized the man she thought she loved didn't exist. From my earliest years in school, people looked at me as being different. I have always chosen to be a trendsetter. My mother told me on my 8th birthday that she was sending me to a self-defense school. She told me that people often lash out at what they don't understand, and that I might need to be able to protect myself. For 12 years, I've dealt with bullies, narrow-minded people that judge a book by its cover." Chris paused a second to look at everyone. "School has always been easy for me, but I never felt it necessary to excel. Now with the school scholarship program, I can consider making a career in design." "Time," said Day. That was a minute. It seemed that all 6 girls understood what Chris meant about narrow-minded people. Looking different than others can be a challenge at times. Fitting in is difficult, along with being accepted. Eve, you can go next. Average height, with coal black hair and dark brown eyes that enhanced her Mexican complexion. Eve started to talk. "My parents came to Chicago from Mexico when I was only 6 months old. I was born in Texas when they were working as immigrants. My dad died from lung cancer 2 years ago, and now my mother is sick. She has worked hard her entire life and has always hoped to see me go to college. I guess that will actually happen now. I just hope my mom will be here to see it. I have often thought teaching would be a rewarding, even if it didn't pay well. Perhaps I can go into an administrative work and help students achieve something with their lives. Perhaps I'll replace Mr. Mason someday." "Stop." Chris had control of the watch again, and Eve's time had ended. The table had taken on a serious tone with the friends sharing their 60-second biographies along with their dreams. No one was laughing, and the group was slowly cementing their friendships. "Raven, will you share your short life history with us?" Day knew that Raven had only a slight tie with the group, and she didn't want to ask something of Raven that she wasn't ready to offer. However, Raven had already realized that this was her new group of friends, true friends. "I'm 18, born in Chicago. My mother has been institutionalized for most of my life. She suffers severe schizophrenia. My father works hard. He dedicates his life to work. My father's mother used to watch my sister and me. She looks at me like I am some kind of freak. My father just moved us into his mother's home. I left only a few friends at my old school. My boyfriend just dumped me. He said I lived too far away now to bother." Raven paused. 12 minutes distance. Raven paused again. "I know he didn't really care for me, but it didn't seem to matter." Then adding, "I feel closer now to you 6 than I ever did with him." Finding a positive note, Raven added, I have always done well in school, and with the scholarship, I'll work for a degree in psychiatry. It's a minute. Chris felt just a bit awkward about calling time, but everyone had to follow the rules. Esther, would you like to go next? Dave was looking at Esther. Sister, if no one minds, might be best if I go last. Esther smiled at Dave. Dave looked around the table. Does anyone have a problem with that? No one spoke up except for Helen. I'll go next. I'm 18 and was born in St. Mary's Hospital, just 6 minutes from here. My parents make fairly good money and spend it before payday. I know that they are staying together for me. When I graduate, they plan on getting a divorce. Dave has been my best friend for a long time, as long as I can remember, and I always trust her guidance. I've had a lot of boys touch me and want to make out, but I prefer girls. School has always been easy. I have never thought about the future until now. My parents can't afford, nor would they offer to provide me a higher education. However, with the scholarship fund, I'll study hard and become a mathematician. I love the miracles that numbers provide. Time, said Chris. They turned to Chris. Why don't you go next, Chris? It was ignored by everyone that Helen had confessed to being gay. Chris pushed her soda away, leaving her black lipstick on the straw, then began speaking. I have the same story as Helen, Chris quickly added, but I like boys. I just haven't met one that seems compatible with me. I guess we're all lucky that school has never been a challenge. I'm 18 and I've never taken a book home. I can earn perfect grades without even trying. I hadn't thought about college, but now with the scholarship, I'd love to study design and maybe go into the fashion industry. My grandmother taught me how to sew, and some of my clothes are my design. It would be wonderful to create clothes that people liked. Chris stopped talking. She looked at Chris, and after a couple of seconds, he said, Stop. Everyone laughed lightly, because Chris had already ended her brief history along with her goals. All right, we have just one brief bio left. Esther, will you share with us a 60-second biography? Dave smiled at her sister, hoping to learn more about her. Esther looked about the table, smiled at each person individually, then started telling her story. My father is from this neighborhood. He was born at St. Francis Hospital. At 18, he joined the military and became a special forces soldier. While in China, he met a beautiful woman from Norway. She was doing missionary work. He had a wonderful relationship full of love and respect. My mother died before I was born. A sniper shot my mother in the head. She was 9 months pregnant. An isolated band of rebels resented foreigners and didn't like missionaries preaching Christianity in China. My father was close by when the sniper shot my mother. Esther paused, lamenting, but for a moment. My father cut me out of the womb to save my life. Esther gave another pause. In the military, you are discouraged from having family around, and so my father kept me hidden in nearby monasteries, where he oversaw my education and guided my growing up. He realized early that I learned quickly, and so he provided accelerated education to meet my needs. Esther stopped and chuckled for a moment. I think most fathers worry about their little girls and the day men start finding them attractive. And so he had me trained in martial arts and, of course, military science. He was a professional soldier after all. Esther tilted her head slightly and grinned as if she had just revisited a wonderful moment in time, then continued, As I grew older, he insisted that I speak English correctly, and so found an excellent teacher that stayed with me for several years. Because my father was well liked by the monks, they trained me in their martial arts, something they had never done for a Caucasian. At age 6, my father started taking me around the road with him. I made friends quickly with his friends, and I learned a lot from all of them. His unit was not only knowledgeable in weapons and self-defense, but they had to have a working knowledge of other languages. Each time we reached a new country, I quickly picked up the language. Like everyone here, I found learning to be easy. Esther smiled at Day, then added, I have a knack for languages. Since my metabolism only requires 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night, I am able to make tremendous use of a 24-hour day. Esther stopped. She was hesitating and then went on to say, my dad was killed 6 months ago. By people that wanted to kill me. Their goal was to make my father suffer through my death. Instead, they mistakenly took his life. Much of my education is in philosophy and military training. My father told me many times, the world is plagued with thoughts of revenge, which can undermine reason. He told me that justice is hard to define, and that right and wrong is only a concept of society. I might have disappointed my dad, but the people responsible for my death are all dead now. For his death are all dead now. Esther seemed content having said that, then added with a smile, I came to the United States to live with my dad's sister. My Aunt Brandy is a wonderful person. Esther ended her story and looked over at Chris. He had gone into a trance listening to her. Dave broke the silence, sensing that Chris was speechless. Esther, we can all have scholarships. Do you have a goal in life, perhaps in school? Esther pricked up. Oh, yes. I want to attend a culinary school here in Chicago. I love cooking and would love to become a professional chef. Esther was beaming. Everyone at the table looked at Esther in amazement, and then everyone laughed. Esther's goal in life had surprised all. And I believe that'll be the end of reading 36. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Until next time.